Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar today. My name is Mikiko Muraoka, and I'm an online marketing manager here at Marin Software. Also leading this webinar along with me is Megan Salinas, who is also an online marketing manager specializing in Facebook. Today, we'll be covering our latest feature enhancements introduced into our application. Our main focus will be product listing ad management and tracking, and increased Facebook ad type support. We hope that this session will provide you with the base knowledge needed to start utilizing these enhancements. And if there are any questions during this webinar, please feel free to type them into the question bar, and time permitting, we will go over them at the end of this webinar. Our help section has also been updated with our articles regarding the new features, so we encourage you to use those as a reference as well. As always, if there are any follow-up questions, please feel free to reach out to your online marketing manager or file a support ticket should you run into any issues or errors while using the new features. Also, if you need to drop off at any time during this call, a recording of this webinar will be sent out to those who registered. So if you do need to hop off, rest assured that this recording will be sent out to you. And to start, we're going to go ahead and cover some of the updates that we've made to managing product listing ads, or PLAs, through the Marin interface. If you'll see my screen now, you'll notice that I am opted into a new tab called Product Targets. This Product Targets tab is something that can be enabled by your online marketing manager should this be a feature that you're interested in using. So please contact your online marketing manager if you have not done so already and are interested in using the Product Targets tab and features. Product targets in Marin are adjacent to what Google on their end calls auto targets. So if you look into your Google Merchant Center or your product listing ads and you're wondering what the correlation to product targets in Marin is, those will be auto targets within Google. So with this latest enhancement, users are now able to create, edit, and update campaigns, ad groups, promotional text, negative keywords, and product targets easily within the application. Some of these enhancements were introduced to the application in our last release a few weeks ago on the product listing side. Now you're going to be able to create product targets and also to track them all the way through to the conversion. By being able to do so, you are now able to quickly select, multi-edit, or update via a bulk upload both product listings and target settings. With Marin's bidirectional sync, you can also ensure that changes to product listing ads are current between Marin and Google regardless of where the changes were made. So just to go over how a product target, or what in Merchant Center would be auto targets, would be created, you can go ahead and navigate to the Product Targets tab. And just like with any other creative or keyword, hit the Creation button. Once you hit the Creation button, you'll then be able to select the publisher account, campaign, group that this product listing ad target will live. So you'll notice that every time we change an account, the campaigns that you can then select will change as well. Once your publisher account, campaign, and group have been selected, you'll also notice that you may select the status. So you can have active, pause, or delete, just with any other keyword or creative. You'll also notice that there's this destination URL field. We'll go into more details on what this field can contain, but if you do leave this blank and implement as is, what will happen is Marin will use the URL that is assigned to that product target or PLA from the Merchant Center. So in general, the destination URL is something that is optional, but we'll go into further explanations on how you can now use Marin to go ahead and track these product targets, at which time this destination URL field will be filled. The next thing you'll notice is that there is the product target options. You'll see that there are two options here. You can do all products, or you can go ahead and add a group of products. When you select the group of products, you'll notice that there is a drop-down that appears with 6 of the options that Google provides you: ID, product type, brand, AdWords grouping, condition, and AdWords labels. You will then be able to put the value of the condition that you pick. So if you were to pick ID, you can then go ahead and fill out the ID. If you were to pick brand, you can go ahead and fill out a brand like Nike. You're able to pick up to 3 of these criteria, and they will work as an and. So if you had a brand and an ID and a product type, those will all be included in this product target. Just to go into a couple of examples, if you look at this, brand would be something that would be a little bit more broad, so would product type, but an ID in Merchant Center is kind of like a SKU, if you will, that will call out an individual product. So if you want to get granular with your targeting, I would suggest using these drop-downs. If you've just created new items and you still haven't created groupings for them yet, the all targets is probably a good option as well. Once that's done, all you have to go ahead and do is to add the product target bid or max CPC and hit save. You'll notice that once you hit save, the green bar at the top that sends you to the activity log shows. After you've created a product target, the workflow is much like adding a creative or a keyword, where this will show in the activity log as a creation that needs to be sent. Again, this will be held in Marin's activity log until you personally post them, or wait until the nightly bi-directional sync occurs at 8 p.m. your account time. The second option that you have within product targets and creating them is to be able to do so in bulk. If you navigate back to product targets, at the bottom left-hand side, there is a bulk add edit product target link. Once you click into that, you will be sent to a very similar page as to any other bulk add edit page that you see within Marin. One thing to note that is a little bit different from all other creations in bulk is that for product targets, the parent, group, and campaign cannot be created through the bulk when you're newly creating product targets, which means that you need to either make sure that those campaigns and groups are created before, or go ahead and create the campaigns and groups via bulk upload first, and then create the product targets. So if you'll notice that we go into one of the accounts and specify all the way to group, the headers change. You'll see product target ID, the product target ID is much like your keyword ID or creative ID that is specific to Marin. So basically, it's Marin's identifier. It's saying that this is the target that you're looking for. So in creative, we actually have an internal ID that you can download as well that lets Marin know, regardless of what is included in the other headers, you're looking for a very specific item within Marin. So that's what the product target ID is. It's just an application-specific unique ID for your product targets. You'll then see condition 1, value 1, and then all the way up to 3. These are the same as the drop-down we looked at when creating them singularly. So this is where you would put in the ID, product type, or brand. The condition is where you would put the conditions such as ID, product type, and brand. The value is the actual value of those conditions. So the ID number for product type, something like shoe, and for brand, something like Nike. And then you'll be able to upload this as with any other keyword or creative type within Marin. The necessary column headers for this upload can be found within the Marin Help section. But just to go over them, anything that is within a square bracket is optional. So as long as you provide Marin with an account, campaign, and group, which I've done by using the drop-downs, and provide at least one target condition and value, you are set to go in creating these in bulk. The other thing to note, and again, you may re-refer to this in the help section, if you are wanting to target all products instead of identifying a single target condition and value, if you include an asterisk under the condition and value targets 1, you'll be able to default it to all products. So even within the bulk sheet, you are able to target all products just by using an asterisk instead of giving it an actual value. So to just kind of review, I found it very helpful to kind of imagine product targets very similar to keywords. In that product targets will allow you to call up a product listing ad, and it will also allow you to track down through to the conversion. So it's very much like the keyword. It's what triggers the product listing ads that you have within your Merchant Center feed. Great. So we'll go back into the product listing ad that I created through the single edit mode. So you notice it's still sitting in our activity log. If I click into the ID, I'll be able to go ahead and click through to the exact product target that I've created. Here you'll notice a few things. The product target, brand ID, and product type that I filled in is now populated. The destination URL is also populated. Next we'll go into how this destination URL field was populated via URL Builder within Marin. One thing I'd like to point out here is that once the product targets have been set, this is not something that can be edited. You can still edit the status and the destination URL and the max CPCs as often as you would like, but the product target settings in blue are what Google uses as how it's created as an individual item. So if you were to change or create something that had a slightly different combination, Google will see that as a new item. So it's just like if you went and changed your keywords around. If you updated the actual keyword, then Google would see it as a new item. It's very much the same thing within product targets. And once these product targets are created within Marin, just to show you a quick workflow, you are then able to go ahead and make edits singularly by multi-select or by bulk edit throughout your management flow. So if you were just to go ahead and click a few of these, go to the edit button, you'll then be able to adjust the search bid, destination URL. You can build your URLs, and you can even add dimensions to product listing ads. So once you have this in Marin, you'll be able to use this tab to do a lot of reporting as well as analysis using things such as dimensions. You can also pull reports on it just like anything else. You'll be able to set up web queries, recurring reports, just by setting it up through the Create Report link. One thing that I would like to point out for the dimension use is that unlike other items, we're not able to roll up the data in the Dimensions tab, but because they're tagged, you'll be able to bring in the dimensions columns within the product target grid so that you can go ahead and filter through the grid as well. Great. The next portion of product targets within this new release that I would like to cover is the URL builder. Now, in the product target that I created, you might have noticed that the destination URL was automatically filled in, even though I hadn't added anything on my end. With this latest release, what we've been able to do is leverage Google's value track parameters that are dynamically populated, which automatically pulls in the target landing pages that you have assigned within your Google Merchant Center. So by using those value tracks, we're now able to set up URL Builder within Marin, so you don't need to manage URL tracking via Merchant Center, and you can do it just through the interface within Marin. This enables users to track performance down to the individual product targets and product listing ads. And you can also turn on URL autocorrect in order to check for malformed or duplicate IDs so that you can be assured that your URLs are always unique, hence tracking correctly. So to go into URL Builder, you would, again, navigate over to Admin, and then over to Revenue, URL Builder. When you do that, you'll notice that it looks just like the keyword URL Builder, but with this new feature enabled, you now see a keyword settings, and below that, product target settings. So if you go and click on product target settings, it will roll up the keyword settings and show you the product target settings. There are a couple of settings here that I'd like to point out. Again, because this is an optional tool, you are able to turn on and off the automatic builds. So right now, it's set to build product target URLs. So whenever I create a new product target within Marin, it will append anything that I have activated within URL Builder. If you wanted to turn this off, all you would have to do is click the next radio button over, which is Do Not Build Product Target URL. Under the settings, you'll notice that there is also an option to just go ahead and copy over your keyword settings. For many of your accounts, this might work out just as well as setting up specific parameters for your product targets. One of the reasons why you may want to set up the required parameters specifically to product listing ads is to make the URL a little bit shorter, a little bit cleaner. For example, the keyword level parameters, if you were to go ahead and just implement as is, will resolve to blanks. For example, within Marin Tracker, if you had if you had removed all of the keyword-specific parameters, you would just be left with an mquid and a pquid, and that's enough to track product targets. So if you want to keep it clean, please feel free to just limit it to the specific parameters that are required in your account for product targets. Otherwise, you can go ahead and copy them over from your keyword settings. This account right now is set up for Google Analytics. So what you saw in the product target that I created was Marin adding all of the required parameters that have been set in this box to the destination URL. The system will actually automatically add the value track parameter. So when I say value track parameter, these are the dynamically inserted parameters for your landing pages. So on Google's end, that would be unescaped LP URL or just LP URL. Those are the two value tracks that are supported within Marin. And our system actually will just append unescaped URL or LP URL to the destination URL just as if you had uploaded a specific destination. So there's no actual need for you to go ahead and add those within URL Builder. It's done automatically for you. You'll notice also that there is an ability to add redirects to the URLs. This is kind of when the unescaped LP URL versus the LP URL becomes a little bit more important. If you are just using the required parameters, it will be the unescaped URLs, which is just the landing page directly from your Google Merchant Center product feed. When using an LP URL, it's basically the same thing, but the URL will be in an encoded format. So for Marin's purposes, the differentiator for using those two value tracks are within the redirect settings. If you'll notice here, I'm just going to click this so that it bolds out. Within the redirects, it says that the landing page is a click-through URL. The other option is for this to say unencoded click-through URL. And that Marin will see that and choose for the click-through URL to add the LP URL, and for the unencoded click-through URL, add the unescaped LP URL. So I know that's a lot of different tracking parameters. So please do refer to our help desk as well for a refresher. But the main point is the Google landing page parameter will be appended automatically through Marin. So that's not something that you have to consciously add in. So I'll go ahead and show you now that we've kind of covered what would go into URL Builder, how that affects the destination URL in the product target that you've created. So I'm just going to go back to the activity log so that we can quickly point out the product target that I had earlier created and go straight to the settings page from there. You'll notice that the Google Analytics tracking that we had in the URL Builder has been added here. And Marin has gone ahead and also added the unescaped LP URL. So this part was done automatically so that you don't have to worry about it. In this destination URL, you'll notice that we've added the parameters with a leading ampersand. Marin will always use a leading ampersand in appending these parameters, but on Google's end, they are able to change the ampersand to a question mark when necessary. So although in Marin it will also always be an ampersand, Google will then determine whether an ampersand or a question mark is necessary depending on the rest of your URL. The other thing to kind of be aware of when using Marin's URL builder to add tracking to your product targets is to not have any tracking that you may be using within the Merchant Center URL. So for what landing pages you have in your feed, if you're going to use the URL builder option within Marin to tag parameters, you want to make sure that it's just your landing page. It's a clean URL with no tracking parameters. That way, when Marin builds the destination URL within our system, it will add on all of the tracking parameters you have set in your URL builder, and then just pull the clean landing page from your feed. So that's a bit of an important distinction. It makes it really, really easy for you to manage the tracking parameters for your product targets if you switch over to using URL Builder within Marin. Just do make sure that when you do that, all of the tracking parameters are via Marin and not through your Merchant Center feed. One more thing that I'd love to kind of make everyone aware of is that within URL Builder there is an autocorrect function where Marin will go and check and make sure that all of the parameters are present in your URL. This feature does in fact work with product target settings as well, so you'll be able to utilize that function within Marin. And the last bit of navigation that I do want to go through, you'll notice that I've been using the Product Target tab a lot to go ahead and navigate into all of the individual product targets. You are also able to do so on the ad group level. So if you were to go under groups, you'll now notice that Product Target is an available sub-tab as well. So you'll be able to see your product targets in a sub-tab within your groups. And then when you go to Creatives, you'll notice that there will be a product listing ad as well. So your product listing ad, the actual ad will live under Creatives, and then your product targets will live under the Product Target sub-tab. Much like Keywords is a separate sub-tab from Creatives, Product Targets is a separate sub-tab as well. And then the Creatives will house any sort of creative-related items you have available within this ad group. The other functionality that has been made available with this enhancement, as I mentioned, is the use of dimensions and reporting. You can also use any of the charting functionalities within Marin's interface as well. So if you were to go to product targets and you were to bring in charts, this is all available in the grid as well. The other functionality that's been introduced with this release is the manual upload of revenue to product targets and placements. As long as you have the tracking parameters set within Marin, this isn't something that you may have to do at all, but just so that you are aware, it's a feature that is available on the keyword and creative side, where if you use Marin approved headers, you can go ahead and upload revenue and conversion values using an ID. So for product targets, if you were to do this manually, you would use the product target ID instead of the keyword ID in order to upload. Again, this is something that is a functionality that has been available for keyword and creatives, so it's been made available to manually, if you had to go in and backfill or needed to make an adjustment because you knew something was off on a day, you can do manually. But again, if you have the proper URL set up within Marin, you shouldn't have to do so. Okay, well, that's our product listing ads and product targets overview. I know that it's a lot of information to gather, so please do refer to the help section. Everything that I've went over today, from creation to reporting to the URL builder, and even the revenue upload feature is available within our help section. So please do feel free to utilize that as a reference. The next feature update that I want to quickly cover is to let everyone know that Bing historical quality scores are now available through the application as well. So in order to bring this in, all you would have to do is navigate to a given tab. So let's say we'll navigate to the keyword tab. And then in View Builder, if you go to traffic and costs, you'll notice that there is a historical quality score option. So you can go ahead and click that, bring it up to wherever you would like. Save it, and that'll bring in the historical quality score column within the grid. So now you'll be able to see it here. So this is stored on a keyword level within Marin, and you can use it to trend the quality score over a specific time period, maybe to understand the impact of the optimization efforts that you are pursuing within your account. So that's an additional column that you'll be able to add in for Bing as of this release. The other feature release that I will also be going over with you is the fact that we can now do bulk Google policy exemptions within the application. So previously you had to submit individual exemptions using a single edit or a multi-edit within the grid, so selecting each keyword and writing in an exemption. So if I bring up Google and were to pick a keyword, we would be able to just add an exemption from here. But we can now do this in bulk. You can go ahead and upload a policy exemption if you know that you always hit the same ones. So you can preemptively add them to your bulk sheet now as well. So if you have a lot of tablet keywords, that's a big one that always hits a pharma related policy. So if you wanted to go ahead and upload these exemptions as you're doing your keywords, that's now something that you can do. So just to show you what a Google error looks like on these policies, I'm going to go ahead and show you a document here. Great. So I've just created a quick sheet here to show you what a policy error will look like within Marin. So what you can do is when you do get error files within the activity log, when you download them and check for the errors, you may notice a error like this, where it will say Google error, and then you read down the error, and it will give you a policy name and a violating text. So if you ever see this within your error file, you can now fix this or apply for an exemption as a bulk sheet. So I've actually created two examples here, one for the creative and one for a keyword exemption. So you'll notice the headers that will be required, and this is something that you could go ahead and create within a Excel sheet to upload in bulk add edit mode for your creatives or your keywords. You'll need the account, the campaign, group, creative ID, the match type. If you're looking for keyword level, you'll obviously need the keyword and match type as well in there. But the additional columns that are now available are policy name and violating text. So if you'll look at the error provided towards the end here, it says policy name and violating text. That would be what goes into these new headers. So you can put, for example, pharma and meds. So that's how you build the bulk sheet for applying for an exemption. Something to note here is that these are case sensitive for the policy name and violating text. So I would suggest that you copy and paste them over, or that it is as it appears. In the error usual form. So if that is something that you chronically run into, go ahead and make that part of your bulk sheet to begin with. These policy names and violating texts can also be comma separated, so you can add a few of those in at a time. The thing to remember is to make sure that the policy name and the violating text pair up with each other. So for example, if the policy name is pharma and the violating text is meds, those need to be in the same order in your bulk sheet. So to take this as an example, pharma is the policy name, meds is the violating text. The next one over for policy name is prescription drug terms. The violating text for that would be tablet, so on and so forth. So they need to pair up in order for the policy name and the violating text to be strung together. So that's just one thing to keep in mind, is that you can add multiple policy names and violating text. You just need to make sure that they pair up with each other. Great. So that can now be done in bulk. The last thing that I will be going over is just a quick info on, I believe we do get a lot of questions kind of on Google Impression Share. I just wanted to let everyone know that we do have an updated article explaining what is shown within Google's UI and what is shown in Marin's UI, and that's available in the help section. It's called Understanding Google's November 2012 Impression Share Adjustments. So if you just go into help and Google impression share adjustments, it should come up. And we just kind of give you a bullet point on the differences between what you may see within Google's UI and how we will display that data. So please do feel free to reference that when looking through your Google impression shares. Great. And from here, I'll be going ahead and letting Megan take over here for the Facebook portion of our webinar.
So great. Thank you, Makiko, for that thorough overview of product listing ads and the latest enhancements. In the last portion of today's webinar, we're just going to briefly go over Facebook homepage ads, creating Facebook unpublished page posts, and also pulling in custom columns for social metrics and social conversions. So on my screen, you can see an example of a homepage ad, which is also known as a premium ad. Homepage ads and sponsored stories are essentially ads that are more prominent than others. They appear on users' news feeds or in the right-hand bar. These ad types require a specific type of campaign called a fixed price campaign. This type of campaign is created by selecting a rate card and cannot contain any non-homepage ads. According to Facebook, Facebook homepage ads are larger format ads with more prominent points of engagement for users. As a result, they're 50% more likely to increase engagement, they're 80% more likely to be remembered, 16%, and is expected a 16% increase in brand subscription rate. So in today's webinar, we're just going to briefly go over how to create a fixed price campaign so that y'all can then create related homepage ads and homepage sponsored stories. So to create a fixed price campaign, first, you're going to go to the creatives. You're going to go over to the creatives portion of the app. One minute. Okay, great. As I was saying, you're going to go over to you're going to first go to the Campaigns tab in the app, and then you're going to press Create. From this screen, name your campaign, such as Test, and then select your related account. For this example, I'm just going to select Facebook. Then you'll be taken to the Create New Campaign page. From this screen, you can select Fixed Price Campaign. You'll also notice that in parentheses it says Homepage Ads. From here, you need to select your rate card. So I'm going to see my rates by country, and then I'm going to press United States. So from this screen, I'm then able to input my budget according to the calculator amount. You'll notice that the rate that was previously selected, $8.63, is for 1,000 impressions. So if I was to input 1,000 in my calculator, my lifetime budget would then be input to $8.63. From here, I can then finish creating my campaign as I normally would, which includes scheduling it with start and end dates and adding dimensions if applicable. Once I save this campaign, I can then go into the Creatives tab and select whether I want to create an ad or a sponsored story, and make sure to include the name of this campaign along with those ads. So then that way, I can have the option to create homepage ads or sponsored stories. So for additional information on this, there is definitely a Zendesk article that you can read on. It is titled Facebook, A Guide to Homepage Ads and Sponsored Stories, and includes more information on rate cards and creating fixed price campaigns. So next, we're going to move on to creating Facebook unpublished page posts. So to create a Facebook unpublished page post, you navigate this portion of the app, select the Create, and then you're going to select your Facebook account, Facebook campaign, name your ad, and press Next Step. For those of y'all unfamiliar with Facebook unpublished page posts, essentially it allows you to utilize the benefits of page posts without having to spam your existing user base. So marketers can create an ad or sponsored post that will not appear in existing subscribers' newsfeed, and instead it targets only potential subscribers. So again, keep in mind with the promoted page posts, they'll only appear on the right-hand side column and not on the newsfeed. So again, to set up an unpublished page post, You simply go to the Creative tab, click on the ad, then we're going to name our ad. Of course, the default is active. I'm going to select an ad, and I'm going to be promoting a page post. Then I select my connection. So in this case, it'll be Indian Premier League. And you'll notice that my grid with previous posts is now populated. On the right-hand corner is this option, Add Post. So here's where we can now start creating unpublished page posts. So I would simply input a message or input a link. For example, if I was to select a photo post, I choose File, and then I can pick any sort of photo I would like that is within the boundaries, include a message, and the most important part of everything is to make sure you check this box that says Unpublished. Then when you press Post Now, none of your current fans will see it in their newsfeed, so then that way you won't come off as spammy, but like I mentioned earlier, you will be able to get all the benefits of a page post. So then, of the unpublished page post I just created, you can see it in the grid. So I did not add a caption, so there's no caption added. And then it also has a little X next to it in the column. And that's indicating to us that it is unpublished, so we cannot expect to see some typical metrics that would come with published page posts. From here, I can continue creating my ad as I otherwise would, which includes selecting my pricing, audience if necessary, and scheduling my actions, and then press Save. So I hope in this training everyone took away how to create an unpublished page post, which they can then promote similar to a regular page post. The last bit that we're going to go over is custom columns for social metrics and social conversions. So as many of y'all are familiar, custom columns are great for slicing and dicing data and for pulling in metrics that you otherwise cannot see in the grid. Very specific to Facebook is the fact that now with the custom column, you can set up the cost per like. So in order to do so, all you have to do is go into the admin, then go into custom columns, press create. And I'm going to filter down for pub cost here. Pub cost, and I'm going to divide this by one of my social connections such as likes. All you have to do is just name your column, cost per like in my case, then press Save. And you'll notice that I do not have the option to save this one since I already have created it, so it needs to be something slightly different, such as I just input cost of likes 2. And then when I go into the Campaigns tab and I sort down on my Facebook, I will be able to go into the View Builder, click into Custom, and then I can bring in my custom column which I just created, which was the cost per like, press Save, and I can now report on these custom columns for my different Facebook campaigns or creatives. So if anyone has different questions on how to further leverage custom columns for social metrics and social conversions, please reach out to your online marketing manager. In addition, if you have any questions on how you can start utilizing the feature to create unpublished page posts or to start managing homepage ads and sponsor stories in Marin, please read the Zendesk articles, and if you have any questions, reach out to your OMM, or you can always reach out to our support services for troubleshooting needs. Great. So we have about 5 minutes left in today's webinar, so Makiko and I will take any related questions.
Thank you for that, Megan. I did want to address a couple of things that have come up. Just to let everyone know, this will be available within the next few days as a video, and registrants will be sent a link automatically. In regards to the URL builder, we have a question here asking if the parameters, the required settings, are there by default. It's not something that will be there by default, as it will be specific to your account tracking. So if you have Marin Tracker, then that's what should be placed within there. If you're using Google Analytics, that will be what is placed there. So it will not be there by default, but again, you can either copy them over from the keyword settings, or you can on manager and determine which parameters should go into the required parameters and or the redirect tracking parameters. So those will be very account specific. The other question that we have here is if, just to confirm whether when using the URL builder for tracking, if any of the third-party tracking that's currently in Merchant Center should be removed, and the answer is yes. So anything outside a third party that you're using, such as Google Analytics or Omniture or whatever else you may be using, that should be included in URL Builder. The other note that we did want to make with our last couple of minutes here is to just let everyone know that we have been getting some inquiries around Google's enhanced campaigns change that is coming up within the next couple of months. So I just wanted to let you know that there is updated articles within the help section that outlines what we're planning to do. It will be supported within the Marin application as soon as Google opens up the API or the back end of this new feature. Our product team will be able to then add features that will fall in line with enhanced campaigns. So that is all in progress. The phases and what we currently are doing can be found in the help section, so please do feel free to go in there and search for enhanced campaigns. Thank you again, everyone, for joining our webinar today. Again, this will be sent out to you all post-webinar. I hope that this was helpful. If there are any follow-up questions that you have, please feel free to reach out to your marketing managers or refer to the help section of the application. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good day.